Hello and welcome to this video about the observer pattern concept and code implementation. So the problem with this approach is that all the logic for notifying users is defined in this notify function here. And if we want to add a new type of user or a new type of observer, we will need to add a new if-else statement to this function. So this will make the buyer class more complex over time as we add more types of users to the system. So how do we deal with this? So the idea of the observer pattern is that we will extract this notify function out of the buyer class, and we will do that by making child classes of the buyer class and overriding notify function inside of them. So in this case, we will have a class for the standard user, and a class for the special user. And those classes will inherit from buyer and override notify. Here, void notify. And of course, we will have in each of those classes the implementations for the corresponding class. So for the standard user, we will just update the graph, the line, and for the special user, we will update the line and give the percentage for a forecast for if the stock will go up or down. And in this case, the buyer class will also be abstract because we will not instantiate it, but we will instantiate its child classes, in this case, the standard and the special. And when we iterate over this list to notify buyers, if the buyer is a standard user, the function that will get called is the notify function in the standard user, and if the buyer is of type special user, the function that will get called is notify function in the special user. So let's now go over to the code and see how this works. So let's take a look at this code now. I put my abstract classes in a folder called contracts, and I put my normal classes in a folder called implementations. So let's take a look at this buyer class. So this buyer class has properties like ID and the name, and in the constructor we set the ID and the name, and we have the buy stock function which will add this buyer to the stock if he's not already there. And so also we have the notify function, and in this case it's an empty abstract function, and we will override it in the child classes of buyer. So let's take a look at the child classes of buyer. We have the standard buyer. All this class does is just override the notify function. And so here we update the user's dashboard, and we also pass the properties through the constructor. So the premium buyer, same thing. We override notify function, we update the dashboard and display possibility of up or down, and we also pass the props through the constructor. Let's take a look at the stock class. So the stock class has properties name, price, it has a list of buyers, and in the constructor we initialize the list of buyers and we set our price and name, and we have a function that adds a buyer to the list of buyers and a function that removes a buyer, and we have the stock update function. And this function will simply iterate over all the buyers and notify them by calling their notify function. So let's take a look at our example in program.cs. So in this example, we have two stocks. We have Tesla stock price 200, Apple stock price 300, and we have two buyers, John, a premium user, and Mike, a standard user. So here we will have the user start buying stocks. So user 1 will buy the first stock and the second stock, and user 2 will only buy the first stock. And then we will have the stocks update and start notifying users. So let's run this and see how it works. So here we have user John bought stock Tesla and stock Apple, and that's here and here. And we have user Mike bought stock Tesla, this line, and then we will have the stocks start updating. So Tesla stock will update and it will notify the users that have bought this stock, so both users, and it will notify user John here the premium way, updated user John's dashboard and display possibility of up or down, and then also notify user Mike the standard way, just update their dashboard. And then we have Apple stock update, we will so it has only one buyer, so user John, we will notify him the premium way because he is a premium user. So let's take a look at what's really going on here. When we call this stock update, it iterates over buyers and calls the notify. And so when the buyer is of type standard, the function, the notify function that gets called is the function, the notify here, which just updates the dashboard. And when the user is of type premium, the function that gets called is notify, that's here, that updates the dashboard and displays the possibility of up or down. And that's all really for this pattern. So I hope you've found this useful.